Robin, issue 15, Joshua Williamson writing with the Roger Cruz on art. So I will say, I actually almost had a problem with this issue in the middle. Because, well, no, this will make sense when I tell you, because I thought when they had Talia escape from, Chasey's
DEO?
custody in the DEO, I thought, oh, that's kind of like she turned herself in at the end of Shadow War. This kind of deflates that ending. Like, why would she just escape immediately? So when it turned out that she's actually still working for Chase and this is all part of a deal, I thought, okay, it's not a mistake. It doesn't, it's not ruining the ending of Shadow War. This is just how they're playing it to the public and Batman and everyone else. Okay, that's fine. That's totally fine. Crisis averted. It's okay.
I do love how Batman and Robin show up at the DEO and Chase like, oh yeah, she just, she went nuts. And I feel like Batman's kind of like, this is not right, but he's trying to be better for Damian.
Oh, yeah, I assume he suspects that there's more to it than meets
but he's
the eye.
trying to be better for Damian, and Damian's just like, no, mom's changed, And so Bruce is kind of like, all right, for the kid, I'm not going to pick at this right now.
Yeah.
But, just know.
So as I say at the start, that kind of sets up that Chase is, using Damian and like saying, hey, we could go after Damian because he's kind of wanted for a bunch of things. Yeah. And from there we go to Damian fighting a bunch of clowns. I actually really like the joke of this, which is there's a gang of clowns who hate like being assumed that they're associated with the Joker because the Joker's not actually a clown. We're actually proper clowns. So that's what our thing is. We're really clowns.
Joker's running around in clown face. Is what they're saying.
That's basically what they're saying. And then the rest of the Bat family come in when he gets surrounded, and it's kind of like, oh no, he's with the rest of the family, and now they're a team. They're eating pizza. Cass saying she would have won the tournament if she was in it.
I love that because we said that from the beginning.
We did, yeah. I popped for that. I'm not gonna lie. But then they get the call about Oracle says, hey, Talia's escaped, and that leads us down the plot. And we get how Talia supposedly broke out. But they go looking for her. They find her quite easily because she wanted to be found. She wanted to say not even goodbye. She wanted to ask Damian to come with her. And then Bruce is like, no, he's going to stay with me. And then Damian breaks up their fight and says, look, I'm not going with anyone. I'm on my own path now. Just like you were, father, once upon a time. And Bruce, to his credit, says, like, all right, you know what? That's fine. You know how to reach me and the rest of the family. If you need us, I will trust you, my son.
Yeah. Well, because it starts at the beginning of the first Damian story in Batman and Son, where he chooses to go with Bruce.
Yeah.
And so here, now that he's choosing to go his own way, Bruce is having to respect that. Like Talia had to respect it, even though in the long scheme of things she didn't.
Yeah. But, yes, and Damian pulls a Batman on Batman and disappears at the end of the scene, which was a funny little moment. But then you get the reveal that Talia is talking. She finds this green car. Obviously, it's color suited to match her, along with an outfit and a sword. And Chase starts talking to her over the comms, and they're basically doing like a Birds of Prey style thing where Talia is going to be a spy for Chase, and she's going to be a spy in the general sort of Lazarus side of the world. Amongst assassins, the shadows, all those things. She's going to be a spy for the DEO, and this is all to keep DEO away from Damian. They won't go after Damian as long as she sort of works with them, which is actually a really interesting setup. And I do almost wonder if there's like a mini series bubbling following this, because it could be an interesting little arc. If not, maybe it'll pop up in another Williamson book. Since he's doing
they are priming Talia to be a big deal. That's kind of how with them when they were doing stuff with Poison Ivy throughout. Not Joker War, Fear State. Throughout Fear State, they kept hinting at big things. This feels the same with Talia. As there's definitely since the end of Leviathan, it seems like she's not quite an anti-hero, right? But she is primed for big things, which is cool.
Yeah. And then we go to Lazarus Island, and we've been kind of rooting for Damian to take this group of characters that we had through the tournament and turn them into like his new Titans. And he goes there, Connor's there, Connor Hawk, that is, just to be specific.
Hawk.
And a couple of the others are there, and they're talking about, okay, let's find the others. I'm taking over this island. This is my island now, and this is going to be a haven for people like us. And the cliffhanger of the issue is that Lord Deathman shows up and says that Flatline's out of control, she's trying to kill him, and that Damien and Co are his only hope. Lord Deathman, I still love that name, I'm just going to be honest.
Yes.
It's perfect. So, yeah, they're kind of setting up that there will be a status quo. Obviously, we know Williamson's leaving the book and the book is ending. Mm-hmm. I do wonder if there is going to be something else after this.
It feels like there's a lot of plates in the air right now.
Yeah, it feels like there's a lot of setup for something that could be a new book afterwards. Whether that's just Teen Titans something or whatever.
We have to look now that he's off of Batman, he's off of Robin, he seems to be off of Deathstroke. So
yeah, and obviously Dark Crisis. It has that, but once that's done, what's he doing after that?
So it makes me wonder if he's putting all these, in the air to come back to him. But yeah, Lord Deathman showing up and saying Flatline's out of control, which I like because that's a character I grew to love.
I suspect, whatever plans are post Dark Crisis. Mm-hmm. I suspect whatever some of his new books are will probably be solicited for the month after that finishes. That would be my guess, but because I wonder, because if he's if he's doing anything to the timeline or the status quo of DC with the event, then I imagine whatever he's got planned will start after that. But I'm just kind of theorizing here more than anything. Yeah, it was another enjoyable show, Robin. I kind of like that Damien has patched things up with Bruce. I like kind of the welcoming vibe that it has with him sort of in good terms with the family again, but he still has to go off and do his own thing. And we enjoyed the introduction of all these other teen characters in the tournament, that it's actually kind of nice looking down that path now. So it feels like, I'm going to say it, Williamson's Robin is better than Williamson's Flash. I'm just going to say it.
I'm not going to argue. You could tell that he has a fondness for the character, like he did for Wally. It just felt like he had to write Barry, because that Wally stuff in Flash was pretty good. But I do like when Damien and Connor Hawke are there and they're like, it's funny, as our dads had caves, but we have an island. I thought that was pretty funny. And those two, now that they were such at opposite ends, and now that they're, teaming up for this, whatever their next endeavor is, I think it's pretty cool.
Dealing with Flatline, by the sounds of it, whatever that may include.
Whatever that entails, so... Yeah, no, just his voice for all these characters are really good. I do like his Batman and his Talia. So I just hope we get some payoff from all of this. And it doesn't have to be right away, of course.
Yeah.
But, could be down the line.
Roger Cruz's art is solid enough. It's got, that slightly cartoony vibe that this book's had. It
meshes well with this book. I don't know how well it would be in, a Batman book.
Yeah.
Itself. But here, with, like you said, it's this cartoony, almost over-the-top kind of style. It works out pretty well.
If it's with the tone that it's going for, certainly. Mm-hmm. I would say that. Although slight, this is not really a critique per se, but on the credits page, the G in Roger for the artist, it's so the little bit that makes it a G is so small that it looked like a C, so it looked like it said Roser. Which is not a real complaint. It doesn't really matter, but it caught my eye, and I was like, "What does that say?" So yeah, I thought I'd mention it. All right, Matt, what are you giving Robin issue 15?
I'm giving this one an 8.
Yeah, I had to just give you the same number, but to be honest, you're right, isn't it?
It's really solid. I thoroughly enjoyed this book this week. It's what it needs to be, and especially after Shadow War, which I did enjoy, but it's nice to get back to the elements of Robin.
And the best parts of Shadow War were the stuff that felt more Robin-centric, to be honest.
Right.
So, well, maybe not included. I think the start of it with Razzi's wanting to turn himself in the assassination, that was all really good stuff. But as the rest of it went on, the best stuff was the Robin focused stuff.
The dynamic, yeah.